Blockbuster franchises, including Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings, are about to change hands as Netflix agrees a multi-billion-pound deal to take over Warner Brothers' streaming and studio business. It's a takeover that could lead to a radical reshaping of the US media industry. But critics are worried that the move will create a global megapower in broadcast entertainment and reduce competition. David Silito reports.
Warner Brothers, for 100 years, it's been one of the Hollywood players. Everything from Casablanca.
Sam, I thought I told you never to play.
To The Lord of the Rings. To Barbie.
Diamonds under my eyes.
It's the best day ever.
It is the best day ever.
And it's now being sold. In today's world of streaming, it just can't compete.
The world has changed, right? Driven a little bit by the pandemic. Our viewing habits have changed, and they don't really have the scale to compete against companies like Disney, Amazon, YouTube, and Netflix.
So what might Netflix be acquiring in this deal? Well, Warner's owns some what's known as enviable intellectual property. Things, for instance, such as superheroes, Superman, and Batman. Also the TV and movie rights to the boy wizard himself, Harry Potter. Also a history of prestige TV making. For instance, Game of Thrones, and another perennial favourite that's still making money, Friends. And Friends in the UK is just about to leave Netflix for rival streamer Max. But if this deal goes ahead, things could change because HBO Max is owned by Warner's.
In terms of HBO, there you go. It's the ability to, in one move, to acquire one of its main competitors. And that will definitely increase Netflix's competitive position.
And thanks in part to Harry Potter, Warner's is a major player in the UK filmmaking industry. But the bigger the streamers get, the harder it is for competitors, such as those working in British TV.
There's a massive contraction happening in the industry at the moment with bigger and bigger companies being set up. And that does have a chilling effect because cultural power is concentrated in a small number of hands, and that never feels comfortable.
This deal is all about size, and it could be blocked, but it is a reminder that in modern media, the old Hollywood studios are now the pieces rather
It's a blockbuster in every sense, a $72 billion deal. Netflix, which, remember, a little under 30 years ago, began business mail ordering DVDs, remember them, to people at home. It's only been producing its own content and streaming it for about 20 years, and it is now agreed this deal to take over one of the golden era giants of Hollywood, Warner Brothers, which made Casablanca, it made Citizen Kane, now makes Harry Potter, and that franchise has got an enormous library. Also, as well as Warner Brothers, Netflix here buying HBO, which has been perhaps the standout television production company of the last 20 years. I think it's Succession, Game of Thrones, The Sopranos, which established HBO. That business bought too by Netflix as part of this deal. What's in it for Netflix? Well, they buy a big rival. They get access to the studio production facilities. Netflix at the moment, it relies on external producers a great deal to produce the vast amount of content that it commissions and streams every year. So it gets that, and it gets access to that library, very valuable library, television shows like Friends, which is due to drop off by the end of this year, the Netflix platform. So it gets that. For Warner Brothers, it's an acknowledgement here of this changing industry where these studios once controlled access to content. It's now streamers who control it, because we want this stuff at home. And it's the consolidation of this industry, because scale is everything. We've seen it in several moves. We're seeing it potentially here in the UK, but this is Netflix really becoming a giant. Now, this deal will need regulatory approval in the United States because it brings together two of the biggest streaming platforms. What regulation looks like in the US at the moment, given the way Donald Trump seeks to leverage his power in business deals remains to be seen, but both sides sound confident they'll get a deal done. And this poses questions for the remaining big rivals. There were two other big companies, Paramount, Skydance and Comcast, ultimate owners of Sky, which owns Sky News, also wanted to buy Warner Brothers. They've lost out. They're now going to see if this deal goes through. An enormous powerhouse now based a little further north than Los Angeles in California, but have a huge control and impact over what we watch all around the
Hello and
world.
welcome back. Streaming giant Netflix is set to be the biggest player in Hollywood after agreeing to buy a Warner Brothers Discovery in a deal worth £62 billion. It will put Netflix in control of one of Tinseltown's most celebrated studios with a huge back catalogue, including the Harry Potter and Batman franchises. The deal could see a big shake-up of the entertainment industry and could affect customers too. From the US, here's our correspondent Robert Moore on what the takeover could mean.
This could represent a seismic shift in the media and entertainment landscape. The legendary Hollywood studio of Warner Brothers, now poised to be snapped up by Netflix. The streaming giant has become a huge force in TV and film production, with series like Adolescence.
Dad, I haven't done anything!
And it now says it wants to be the primary storytelling platform of the next century. But the £65 billion proposed deal is such a consolidation that it may face major regulatory hurdles at every stage.
Okay, so big news. Netflix,
as US media analysts were quick to point out.
The next 18 months are going to be a massive soap opera regulatory fight in the United States, in various states in this country, probably in Europe with the European regulators.
There's no
But if Netflix can navigate regulators, does it represent the death of the big screen? Some experts say the streamer will move carefully.
So the last thing they want to do is come in and tell everybody in the film industry, we're getting rid of your industry. Now, of course, people in Hollywood are very afraid that that's what's eventually going to happen. But right away, I don't expect Netflix to do that. And in fact, I expect Netflix to do at least some cosmetic things to try and prove that they are not going to do that.
Even if Netflix becomes a dominant force by absorbing Warner Brothers, British analysts say cinema goers shouldn't worry, at least in the short term.
In terms of the film that you see from Warner Brothers at the cinema, well, they are still expected to debut on the big screen. I know there's been a lot of concern in Hollywood about the potential impact that Netflix could have on Hollywood and the big screen because it is a real disruptor.
Well, I bet you still.
If Warner Brothers represents the romance of old Hollywood, with films like Casablanca among the crown jewels in its archive.
Louis, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Then Netflix is the insurgent. The film business is steadily being swallowed up by tech giants like Apple, Amazon, and now Netflix, leaving many to ponder the future of this iconic name. Robert Moore, ITV News, Washington.